I am Sir Hernando Roldan, and in today's video, I am going to discuss relation and function, vertical line test, and function as representation of real-life situation. Okay, let us distinguish relation and function. When we say relation, it is any set of ordered pairs. The set of all elements of the ordered pairs is called the domain of the relation, and the set of all second elements is called the range. On the other hand, function is a relation or rule of correspondence between two elements, domain and range, such that each element in the domain corresponds to exactly one element in the range. When you say domain, this is the x part, and the range is the y part of the function. Okay. Okay. Let us find this example. Determine if the table of values represent a function or not. Okay, letter A, you have the x elements 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. In letter B, you have the y elements 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So as you can see, there are no elements in x which corresponds to more than 2 elements in the y. So in that case, the table of values represents a function that, since all the values of x corresponds to exactly one value of y. Okay, next. The second table of values with the x values as 0, -1, 4, and -2 and -1, with y values 3, 4, 0, -1, and 1. So as you can see, there are elements in the x value with more than one element in the y value. So in that case, the table of values does not represent a function, or it is not a function, since yon -1 corresponds to two values of y. So we have two values of y here. One is positive 4 and the other one is positive 1. So in that case, this is not a function. Okay. Next, we have x values or x elements 4, -3, 1, 2, 5, and the y elements we have -5, -2, -2, -2, and 0. So in this case, there is no element in the x values, or in x, or yes, in x, that corresponds to more than one value of y. So therefore, this table of values represents a function, since all the values of x corresponds to exactly one value of y. So although meron tayong -2 na tatlo dito, pero when it comes to x corresponds to exactly one value of y. Unlike this one, there are one x value with two y values in it. Okay, so therefore, letter C is a function. Okay, so on the following mapping diagrams, which do you think represent functions? We have letter A with domain ABC and range XY. So as you can see, there are elements in the domain that corresponds to one range, which is B and C that corresponds to Y. Although B and C corresponds to Y, B and C corresponds to a unique value which is Y. So in that case, the mapping is still a function because each element in the domain corresponds to a unique element in the range. In letter B, we have domain X and Y, and we have range A, B. So comparing to letter A, as you can see, there is a domain which corresponds to the two values of the range. So you have X here, which corresponds to the range in which is A and B. So in this case, the mapping is not a function because there is a domain which corresponds to more than one range. Okay. Next, letter C with domain John, Dan, and May, and range Ken, Mark, and Ray. So John is mapped with Ray, Dan is mapped with Mark, and May is mapped with Ken. So as you can see, each element in the domain corresponds to each element in the range. So in this case, the mapping C is a function because each element in the domain corresponds to a unique element in the range. Let us proceed with the vertical line test. A relation between two sets of numbers can be illustrated by graph in the Cartesian plane and that a function passes the vertical line test. A graph of a relation is function if any line or any vertical line drawn passing through the graph intersects at exactly one point. Okay, let us see. Using the vertical line test, can you identify the graphs of the function? Okay, so letter A with how many points of intersection? We have one. So after drawing the vertical line, where is the vertical line? The vertical line is the green one. Okay, this one, this is the vertical line. So after drawing the vertical line, the graph intersect at one point. There is only one point of intersection between the graph and the vertical line drawn on it. So therefore, what is this? Is this a function or not? Or is the graph represent the function? Or does it pass the vertical line test? Yes, according to definition, if the graph passed through the vertical line test if after drawing the vertical line to the graph, it intersects at exactly one point. So therefore, we can say that letter A is a function. Okay, how about letter B? After drawing the vertical line in letter B, the graph and the vertical line intersects at how many points? There are 2 points of intersection. So the question is, does this graph pass the vertical line test? Of course, the answer is no, since there are two point of intersection between the graph and the vertical line. So therefore, letter B is not a function. Next, letter C. So letter C, we have the vertical line drawn to the graph. It intersects at exactly 1 point also. So it is clear that letter C represents a function. So we have A and C are graphs of a function, while B is not, because it does not pass the vertical line test. Okay. So let us discuss function as representations of real life situations. Alright, let us take this as example. If height h is a function of age a, give a function h that can represent the height of a person in a age if every year the height is added by 3 inches. Okay, so let us represent the function of the height of the height which is a function of age a, so that uh, age of a age of a sorry age of a is equal to since every year the height is added by 3 inches, we are going to add 3 plus the age. And so this is the representation of the problem. The function of height is a function of age a, that every year the height is added by 3 inches. So let's take another example. If distance d is a function of time t, give a function d that represents the distance a car travels in t time if every hour the car travels 45 kilometers. Okay, so let us represent if the distance is a function of time as d of t is equal to what? Is equal to, since every hour the car travels 45 kilometers, so if d is a function of time, d of t is equal to 45 kilometers times the time that the car travels, which is t. So therefore, this is the representation of the problem. D of t is equal to 45t, or 45 kilometers times the time that the car travels every hour. Okay, let us have another example. Give a function b that represent the amount of battery charge of a cellular phone in each hour if 12% of battery was lost every hour. Okay, let us find the representation, or let us represent the if b is the function to the amount of battery or the charge of a cellular battery. So we have B of H. So B is a function that represents the amount of battery charge. So battery charge of H or an hour is equal to, so according to the problem, the battery was lost, 12% of battery was lost every hour. So when you say if the battery is full, then the battery has a charge of 100% or 100. Then, since the battery was lost 12% every hour, we say loss, mathematical translation ng loss ay minus. So, minus from 100%, nag-discharge siya ng 12% or 0.12 or 0.12 times the number of hours. Okay, so therefore, this is the representation of the problem. So from 100%, the battery charge lost 12% every hour. So that 100% minus 12 or 12% times or 0.12 times the number of hours is the function of the the battery charge every hour. Okay, thank you. Please subscribe and notify to for more videos to come. Keep safe, everyone. God bless us all.